1 2 check. Listen. Too long on a social. I never felt less social. I try stay active, try stay hopeful, hard. Carry bad news on a mobile phone.
Hello, this afternoon we're joined by the gents from Deadwax, UK alternative grime rockers. They've just dropped their latest single, Disconnect, and the boys are here today to tell us all about this intriguing project. How are you doing? Who have we got in the room? Just introduce yourselves for everybody at home.
Hi guys, I'm Jake from Deadwax. I'm the frontman.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Ben, and I'm the drummer for Deadwax.
So, gentlemen, tell me a little bit about yourselves. So, what is the backstory to the band? Like, how long have you guys been together?
It's coming too long now. We've been together for it's nearly 10 years now. We really? Started in high school. Yeah, we were all, I think, 14, year 9, I'm pretty sure. We just got together playing like Led Zeppelin and like classic rock covers and stuff like that. And that's kind of how we all started playing together. And then as over the, I think it's nearly 10 years, we've just kind of developed very different tastes, and it's kind of culminated in this alt grime rock sound that we're trying to push through now, really.
Yeah, and would you say you guys are unique in the market with that sort of alt grime vibe?
I think locally we're carving out more of a niche. New metal and grime is quite big on a global stage, especially in the UK with some more produced sounds coming in. But where we're gigging most frequently within West Yorkshire, that's sort of like your Huddersfield and Leeds area. What we're doing is a little bit more fresh to the scene. I think that's helping us carve out that niche.
Yeah, because like for people further afield, for example, than say the UK, grime to me, I'm an Irish guy, so grime to me wouldn't be very prevalent over here. So like for further afield, for people further across the water, across the pond in the States, like what is grime? How do you define it?
Grime, I think, is UK hip hop. There's a debate within the sort of hip hop community, whether, especially the British hip hop community, whether grime is its own thing, but really it's the sort of, it grew the same way. It's kind of that like sort of street music that happened in the States. It's just what's happening here in the UK and how it's got different influences. There's a lot from like dancehall, dub, and that sort of Jamaican like hosting. That's a big part of it. It's a lot to do with like hosting and raves as well.
Really?
And it was that, I mean, I got into MCing, and like I host a sound system called the Resonance Sound System. And it was that sort of passion for dance music and the energy that comes with the vocals of that, and moving that into more of a band setting. And yeah, with like guitars, metal, proper big drums, rather than it being typically like produced, garage or grime beats.
Yeah, because it is an interesting sound. The single itself, Disconnect, really grabbed my attention immediately, and that's something you don't get very often these days with a lot of bands, because they're pretty much cookie cutter sort of rock bands, or maybe your typical alternative stuff. So yeah, you definitely have tapped onto something there with the sound.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so you talked about maybe the evolution of the band as from yourselves, obviously starting off as a covers band. So you guys were obviously then quite young when you got together.
Yeah, we I think we've all had very musical upbringings. All of our parents really have been massively involved in music in some way or another, performing more often than not. So we all started basically with instruments being thrown at us from all angles. We started off again as a more psychedelic blues outfit, covering stuff like Led Zeppelin, and there was really this transitional phase. Some may call it puberty, we may call it just getting a little bit older, where the music got a little bit heavier, a little bit angrier, and as Jake was saying as well, tied in with the more electronic side of things, mixing that with some of the bands that we've really looked up to. So Rage Against the Machine is one of them, giving it that grime spin, taking it to the UK. That's sort of how we are carving ourselves out, really, as Deadwax.
Yeah, and so like influences wise, you touched on there, like the Rage Against the Machine. From a hip hop side of things, then who was sort of influencing you guys?
Oh, I mean, there's loads of fantastic, just hip hop rappers anyway. I mean, I love anything from Biggie and Nas over to like Busta Rhymes, Q-Tip, a lot of American hip hop I really like lyrically. And then in the UK, I mean, there's so many people that I really really love. I mean, you've got rappers like KJ Radical, who is more hip hop. It's not necessarily grime, but he's absolutely amazing. There's a producer called Swindle who does a load of stuff with a load of different artists. Gets is an incredible rapper. His vocals are so like there's so much urgency in his voice, and I think I definitely take inspiration from how he kind of like the delivery that comes from rappers like Gets, and in the grime scene, it's very urgent and in your face. I think that's what I really like about the lyrics from grime.
I think just to add on to that as well, I think Little Sims has done a lot for Deadwax. Like the album Grey Area, I think it connected on a crazy amount to all of us. On top of that as well, Asteroid Boys need a very special mention. All of their catalogue has been well, it's had a profound effect on all of us. It's something that we'll listen to as hype tracks on the way to every single show. It will get us amped, however many years later after listening to it.
Yeah, I think there's always albums which are really important in your musical journey, really, you know, and they sort of shape everything for years to come. And you always refer back to them no matter what direction you go, because they sort of give you that energy and that zest for actually doing it.
Mm.
So, Jake, tell me a little about yourself as far as when did you discover your voice?
Well, like Ben said, we've all come from really musical families, and I was performing when I was like 8. I'd have like a djembe. My dad was in it was like a 10-piece like Dolly Parton covers band, so country music and stuff, and I'd sit there with a djembe on the side and just like bash along. And I think I started singing. Well, me and Ben actually were in a band in year 6. I think that was the first band we were ever in. I was singing. We covered some White Stripes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But singing kind of just was. It was quite natural to me. I was always quite confident, and I think that's kind of 50%, if not more, of singing is confidence. So then and then when I got into emceeing and rapping and stuff, that was just for a love of that music. My direction changed, and finding your own voice in rap is also quite difficult because it can come across quite cringy sometimes. I've found it more difficult to find my voice in a rapping style than it was to sing. I feel like I could mimic a lot of different singers more easy when I'm singing, whereas when I'm rapping, it's kind of got to be personal. It's got to sound like you. So it was a difficult, an interesting journey, but I'm really kind of happy where I'm at with it now.
Yeah, I'd say it must be because I don't know if you've always listened to Polyphia at all.
I'm afraid I don't know.
No, okay. They're like an American instrumental band, but they're heavily influenced by R&B and hip hop as well, you know, musically. And when they're sort of writing their music, the guitar players, for example, in the bands would try and replicate rap vocals as far as spitting them out in triplets and stuff like that there. Triplets, sorry. You know, so it's I can imagine from a vocal point of view, obviously trying to deliver vocals for a rap thing must be quite a different way to try and approach it. Yeah,
I mean, I came from playing. I played instruments as well. I played guitar and drums, and I think from playing drums is really where the enjoyment I get from writing rap vocals is from, because you have, you know, it's almost like you're playing beats and you like almost like doing interesting fills, and it's like how to connect it in a way
almost.
Exactly how to connect it in a way that will carry it and create energy just from, you know, where you put your syllables and cadence and sort of stuff. Just accents. That's where I fell in love with it.
And does Ben help that at all, or does he confuse the issue with his drum patterns?
Oh, please be nice here. Please be nice.
No. No, absolutely. Ben is an absolute fantastic drummer, and having somebody that is absolutely solid behind it is key to every band. You have to have the structure at the bottom, and then because it's never slipping out of time, it's like I'm locked onto where I am. I don't have to struggle with anything.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just refer back to Polyphia. I've watched so many videos of the guys playing, but also then people analyzing what they do, because it's quite unique in its own thing. But people talk about the importance of leaving space to breathe within a song, for example. So for the likes of the drums to do their bit around the vocals and likes of your vocals being able to shine around the other instruments within the band. It's so important when it comes to constructing songs, I suppose.
We've definitely had problems with
that.
Yeah.
We are, we're quite happy to spend as many hours as it needs in a rehearsal room to get through issues like that. But I think that's something that's so incredibly beneficial. We are, essentially 10 years deep as a band. We know each other and how we all work very well. So we can be patient with one another where it really needs to be.
Yeah.
Where we need to be.
Give each other a hug once in a while when you need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crying in a fetus position in the corner.
Yeah. No, I remember the first few songs that we wrote with the rap stuff. It was definitely a lot. Well, we were less mature as a band anyway, and it was like everyone's trying to like throw their part in. And then with the rap vocals, it's like, oh my god, there is no rest anywhere.
Yeah,
and that's something we've definitely had to work through as writing's gone.
Yeah, so I was surprised when you said to me that you were like a decade down the road as a band, because that's an amazing thing for anybody, because trying to make it that length of time for anybody is a chore, first and foremost. So congratulations on that. And then obviously, as you say, developing your own sound now, and you sort of maybe feel like you've found your niche that you want to really embed into and carry forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, as you say, like that then journey from those first couple of songs that you wrote, which were obviously challenging, trying to figure it out, is the process easier now, or is it just maybe a case, as you say, you have to be more methodical, take more time to make it work?
I think the songwriting formula is something that we really can't get to grips with. Some songs will fall together really quite nicely within a day. Others can take 6 months, and then they'll just still get scrapped. So finding that even with our new sort of blend of genre, it's still a really uphill battle to find what definitely works. We have got sort of like a decent blueprint when it comes to starting a song, but then like the midway to finishing point, that can be. Well, I think gigging is a huge litmus test to see how songs go down, and you're never going to finish a tune right there and then and just say that's it. I think getting that crowd response back, seeing how the song can go from there is always massive. And to this day, we still rewrite tunes that we've had on a set list for a good long while, and it's like, oh well, there goes that third verse or something like that or whatever. So it does change up.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially with the complex nature of what you're trying to achieve. The video looked like a lot of fun as well.
Yeah,
it certainly was.
Yeah.
Also a little bit of stress in there as well.
Yeah, and was that something that have you done that before at all, or was that new just for the single?
So this is the first time we've really tried to go sort of all out with the video. We're immensely proud of Disconnect and wanted to have a fun video that is going to reflect the energy and the intensity of the music, and also the sound of the actual song itself is incredibly reminiscent of how we try to be on stage. It's very live, it's very raw, and that video is, it has a nice amount of charm to it. You can probably see that the budget was not tens and tens of thousands of pounds. It was anything but that, but no, that was a good time in Jake and Sol, the bass player's cellar. So yeah,
we cleaned up our student house last year and got some paper, stuck it up all on the walls in the basement, spray painted on the paper, so we made it look like a kind of groovy, dingy basement, whatever. And then essentially I think we just put out on socials and some people we knew, just like, free beer, come and be here tonight, party kind of thing. We're just going to film some things as well. And it went really well, but I think it took us maybe like 4 days. Surprisingly long, because it wasn't something we'd had experience doing. But it's good knowing how to approach it now. It's good that being able to do everything yourself, I think, is really important in the industry today.
Yeah, like from a visual point of view, when I saw it, it sort of reminded me of Enter Shikari, Sorry I'm Not a Winner. That sort of raw energy,
sweet.
Yeah, so that's what I sort of got back from it, and there's definitely a charm to it, and as you say, that DIY flavor. I don't think people care. People aren't looking for the tens of thousands of pounds budget videos all the time. They want to just see people doing what they do and get a reflection of maybe what they're like live. So yeah, well done on that as well. And as you say, quite an educational thing for yourselves as well, going through that process.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Massively, massively. It's also, I mean, it's been a massive learning experience. We intend to keep at the DIY route. So moving forward with these with other music videos, hopefully they'll only become more slick on the back end of actually making them, but still keep that charm.
Yeah.
That is important. Keep it
And
fun.
what was it like, turning on the charm for the video? Like, did it feel a bit cringy, a bit strange?
I think playing drums and miming guitars in a bathroom at 2 a.m. with incredibly tolerant neighbors. That you do sort of like zoom out and think about, is this weird? Yeah, it
Yeah.
kind of is. It kind of is. But well, we love what we do, even if it is a little bit funky at times.
Yeah. And you guys got to work with Mike Krompass then on the production side of things. How was that
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
for you?
Yeah, Mike is absolutely amazing. We met him, by chance. Yeah, and it shows it really is like who you know. He kind of was looking for. He'd recently moved from the US and he was looking for artists. And then he really kind of just got what we were going for. And having him on the record has definitely increase the level of sound that we have. It's helped to realize, especially because Disconnect was kind of a first statement of who we are as a band. So having it sound as good as it does was just absolutely amazing. We couldn't have asked for a better record, really.
Yeah, I was going to
be
say he's a monster musician as well, so he's going to bring a different level of knowledge and experience to the record.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting. We're off to the studio on Monday to record the next single with him. His new studio is called Base Culture. It's by the West Yorkshire Sculpture Park, if anybody knows of that. So it's in a beautiful location. And it's just a lovely, lovely place to go and record everything you need there, just in the middle of nowhere. It's fantastic.
And out of curiosity, did he bring anything then, that wasn't already there to the song or, to the production for that maybe you hadn't thought about?
This was our first time working with a producer, and to have someone with Mike's caliber brought on board. I think from down to workflow, down to like for myself on the drums, because he is such an accomplished multi-instrumentalist. Great tweaks to the drums, great suggestions would come in. And it just makes the song better. I mean, I can take a little chip on the ego because what he can suggest will improve the song. So yeah, I think we all benefited.
But on that, Ben, it wasn't he wasn't writing sections. He didn't bring in any new sections.
No,
it was literally polishing, but it was that essential polishing that, just like a little extra kick needs to just land there and just literally like tightening screws. And that's what's fantastic working with a really good producer is that they know they're realizing the artist's vision and they're not trying to steer it in a way that it wasn't ever meant to go. And that's what's really, really good working with him.
It's probably a sign of a good song as well, that he didn't feel he had to, that he was able to let it breathe as a song and let you guys sort of shine, in your own way.
You could say that, yeah.
I can say that. You guys can say that.
I'll take it. Thank you.
No, but it's a killer track, and you should be proud of it for sure. It'll be interesting to see, obviously, as you say, now that it's out there in the ether, where does it travel to, how far and wide it can go. But with the internet these days, anything is possible.
And we've had a team actually on it. We have we've as it's our first proper statement, we wanted it to be successful. So we've actually got a PR manager and a Spotify plugger who are doing their jobs very, very well.
Yeah.
You'll know Wes.
Yeah.
And then White Lining PR doing a fantastic job on Spotify for us. So hopefully it's only going to grow from here.
Yeah, like the reality is, as much as this world is DIY for a lot of musicians, you can't do everything yourselves. Sometimes you do have to recognize when you need to hand over certain things to other people because they do know the industry, they do know their strengths and weaknesses, and you guys are ultimately just are better concentrating on being creative rather than getting bogged down with the other stuff.
Absolutely. If we had the money, we'd outsource everything.
I know. Dream. And so, like, what's on the cards next? You say you're hitting the studio next week to record the next single. Is it the same sort of flavor as Disconnect?
It's on the same wavelength. It's a I mean, of course, to a more national audience, we haven't quite established who we are with just with just this one single coming
Yeah.
out. It's still very much reminiscent of both Deadwax and Close Enough to Disconnect, but it's something that we love. It's something that audiences we really believe will love as well.
Yeah, and when he's hoping to get that one released, what sort of time?
It's going to be sort of early on in the new year, gunning for springtime. I shan't reveal the name to build up a little bit of a suspense, but it's well worth keeping tabs on our social media to see where that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, it's about getting that balance again, isn't it? You have to sort of release music, keep yourself relevant, but again, you can't spit it out every week. You need to sort of space it out, let the first single breathe, and build momentum, I suppose, as well.
Absolutely. And in doing so, local shows and shows around the nation are really good for that. We've got some really good gigs on the lineup. We're actually going to be in York at the beginning of next month, supporting Risky and the Ridicule. And then we've got a brilliant headliner that we're really looking forward to on Mad Friday in Huddersfield. That's at Venn Street. That's going to be a little bit of a riot. We have a history of causing some chaos in Huddersfield, and Mad Fridays, they've always been some of our favourite shows. So we're hoping to get back to that in a nice post-pandemic era. So we'll
for sure. And out of curiosity, music-wise, before Disconnect, like how much music have you guys put out? So when you're talking about playing a set, what's in that set at the moment?
A lot of unreleased music, really. So I mean, we've been a long time playing together, and we had a bit of an EP out. Well, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago, and then we've had a couple of singles that it was kind of like we almost didn't know what we were doing. We were doing it just because we like doing it, and it's like, right, let's just put it out. Yeah, great. It's out there. And definitely like the first sort of 2-3 years we were gigging, it was a completely different set list. But now now we found our sound and who we are as a band. It's all essentially unreleased. There's Heavy Temptation, which is our biggest single. That's one of the first songs that we wrote when we kind of explored this vein of alt grime rock, and that's still in the set list. But other than that, it's pretty much unreleased music and Disconnect.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'll definitely be watching this space to see where you guys go from here. Curious to see if you're famous, and just don't forget about me, guys. You know what I mean? 12 months time, make sure we have another chat. Don't be blowing me off for somebody famous like your man Stern or something, Mike Stern. You know, it just won't do a good job. So, looking, guys, thanks for your time today. Absolute pleasure talking to you. Just a reminder for everybody, make sure you do check out the new single Disconnect. Tell us your socials, guys, where people can find you.
You can find us at Deadwax Official pretty much across the board. We're available on all major streaming platforms. And if you do fancy checking out that YouTube video that we've just been talking about, that's on YouTube over at Deadwax Official.
Brilliant job. Look, again, thanks again, guys, for your time. Pleasure meeting you. And we'll certainly talk to you further down the line then when you get your next single released.
Oh, magic. Well, thank you for having us. It's been lovely. Cheers.
Pleasure, bro.
Thank you very
Pleasure.
much.
Thanks so much. Now, you guys take care.
I never felt less social. I try stay active, try stay hopeful, hard. Carry bad news on a mobile phone, so I might not answer the phone. It's not personal, it's just growth. If it is personal, ain't got my number. Ain't got to wonder why I'm not home. I won't answer the phone. If it says Brit, can't promise I read it.